Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 2-2. And it is called, sorry I didn't have it ready for you, Connect Place Value and Multiplication. So with that said, today we're going to look at place value and how it connects with multiplication. So we're going to talk about the associative property and the commutative property. I might have pronounced those incorrectly, but those are the two properties we're going to talk about today. I would definitely write those two down. So first I want you to open up to page 43. Okay, on page 43, you'll see on top, you have learned about base 10 pattern and place value. This model shows how place value and multiplication are connected. So if I said, looking at the first line, if I just said 2 times 10 equals 20, you'd be able to see this in the place value because I have two tens. Okay, so 2 times 10 equals 20. The next section, what I have are, I have 10 groups of 2 tens. Okay, here's a group of 2 tens, just like we have up there. But instead I have 10 groups of 2 tens. So that could be written 10 groups times 2 tens, because 2 tens is 20. So knowing that 10 groups of 2 tens, you should know that equals 200. So each group of 10 tens becomes 100. So 10 groups of 2 tens equals 200. Let me erase that and show you on here. Here is one group of 10 tens, so that equals 100. Here's another group of 10 tens, so that equals 100. So that would equal 200. But really, if I wanted to, I could just say 10 groups of 20 equals 200. The most important thing to realize here is that you're able to understand that 10 times any number gives you that number of tens, and 10 times any number of tens gives you that number of hundreds. So 10 times any number gives you that many number of tens. So 10 times 8 would give me 8 tens, or 80. Okay, so 10 times any number of So 10 times any number of tens gives you that number of hundreds. So this is 10 times any number gives you that number of tens. 10 times any number of tens gives you that number of hundreds. So if I go 10 times 8 tens, that would give me 800. So as long as you know that rule, you will be just fine. So what I want to do now is I want you to go back to the page we were just on, and this is where we start talking about the associative property. Okay, the associative property talks about the numbers we had above. Okay, it shows you 10 times 20. Okay, 10 times 20 is the same as 10 times 2 times 10. Because what it's showing you that it's 10. Okay, we have 10 times 2 times 10. Here's our 2 times 10. Okay, we have our 2 times 10 on the bottom, just like up here. We have our 2 times 10 on the bottom. So we're showing you that we have 10 of those. We have 10 of those 2 times 10. So another way you could look at it is 10 times 2 times 10. Because that's really what it is. You have 10 times 2 times 10. Once again, I'll change it to a different color. 10 times 2, and then you have times 10. You have them all in there. Kind of like an array that we talked about yesterday. The commutative property is very similar. You could just say 2 times 10 and then times 10. Very similar to what I just showed you, but you could do that would be 2 times 10 and then times 10. That would be the same number of 200. So back to the associative property, it is 2 times 10 times 10. Another way you could do it, you could do 2 times 10 times 10, because that's really what this is right here. And I guess I'll change the color again, go with orange. What this is really right here is, sorry, I pulled up, 2 times 10 times 10. So this is 10 times 10, and this is 10 times 10. So it's 2 times 10 times 10, because you have 2 10 times 10. So basically you have 2 times 100, which I have underneath it, which equals 200. It's a mess, I know. There's a lot to it, something you may just know by looking at it. But let's kind of walk through all the steps here between the associative property and the commutative property. Alright, so we know 10 times 50 is equal to 10 times 5 times 10. Right? Because we have our 10, which is there, and then 50 would be 5 times 10. Okay? Next line, you could say 10 times 5 times 10. Because 10 times 5 is 50, times 10 will give you the same answer. Next line, you would go 5 times 10, which is 50, times 10. Okay, next line, you could go 5 times 10 times 10, or 5 times 100, which would equal 500. See how the steps we're working way down here? 5 times 10, a lot of 5 times 10, and times 10, and your answer gets 500. These are just ways for you to understand that place value, the base 10, blocks, the tens, and the hundreds. This is an easier way for you to see it. Hopefully some of you can really look at this and say, wow, I can really understand multiplication now because of this. A lot of you are going to say, whoa, Mr. Winkler, this is pretty deep, and to be honest with you, I find other ways easier. I'll be okay with that. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to turn to the next page, page 44. It says model a product of tens. It says Olivia wants to tile the top of a table. The table is 20 inches by 30 inches. Olivia needs to find the area of the table in inches. So find the area of this 20 by 30 rectangle by dividing it into 10 by 10 squares of 100. Okay, they've already done this for you once. So what you're going to want to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so it doesn't look too sloppy. I'm going to find another, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like we'll go right there, there. Okay, so I have made it says Olivia needs to find the area of the table. It says find the area of this 20 by 30 rectangle by dividing it into 10 by 10 squares of 100. Okay, we know that this is 100. We know it. It's 10 by 10. So if these are all the same, which they're not exactly because I'm a sloppy writer, but they're pretty much, we get the idea. They're each 100 squares, or each 10 by 10 squares of 100. It says each tile is a 1-inch square. So how many tiles does Olivia need to cover the tabletop? Okay, this is the entire tabletop. Okay, if there's 100 in each of these squares, these little squares, that we know we have 100 times 6. So we need 600. Okay, but remember they're 1-inch squares, so we need square inches. Okay, so an inch with a little 2 above it, or it says each tile is a 1-inch square. How many tiles? I guess you don't even need to put 6. I'm sorry, I'm going ahead here. You don't need to worry about the unit there, because what it's doing, it wants to know how many 1-inch square tiles you need. You need 600. Okay, each box of tiles contains 100 tiles. How many boxes of tiles does Olivia need? Okay, if she needs 600 of them, and we know each box has 100 of them, you should be able to think, okay, this is a box, 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 this is a box. So you should know that it takes 6 boxes. Okay, so another part that we're going to work on is factors of 10. Okay, this is one that will be on your test. I prefer this a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to see. So factors of 10, we know we have 20 times 30. So we actually have 2 times 10 and 3 times 10. Do you see that? This is my 20. This is my 30. Okay, and then if you continue down, that if you have the two tens off to the side, I pulled them both out here, I have 2 times 3. Okay, now I've multiplied my 10 times 10 to get 100, so I need to multiply my 2 times 3 to get 6, and then that gives me 6 times 100, which you all know is 100. So is it true that 20 times 30 equals 30 times 20? Explain how you know. Well, based on all the steps we've been doing, you should know that 20 times 30 would be 2 times 6, or 2 times 3 is 6, put the 2 zeros down. Does it equal 3 times 2 is 6, put the 2 zeros down. 600 equals 600. Okay, you know it's true because you worked them out to 20 times 30 equals 30 times 20. You should understand with multiplication that anytime you have any number, 4 times 80 is always equal to 80 times 4. Okay, you can just flip them around. Not that big a deal. Okay, so one quick thing I want to do for you, and I want you to tell me if this is right or wrong. I'm going to push this out of the way. I'm going to write a little problem down here, and I want you to tell me if it's correct or not. So 20 times 20 equals 2 times 10 plus 2 times 10. Okay? If I break it down further, I can go 2 times 2 plus 10 times 10. Continue with it. That gives me 4 plus 100. Notice I'm going down. Okay, here I'm breaking out the 2's. I'm putting the 10's over here. 10 times 10 equals 100, so that would equal 4 plus 100, which would give me 104. Okay, I want you to take a look at this. Sloppy, very sloppy. We'll work on this in small group. But I want you to take a look at this and see where they went wrong. So pause it if you have time. Pause it and figure it out. And then I'll unpause it. Okay, well take a look. We were doing multiplication. So there's a big issue that I see coming out in the problem here, and it's this addition sign. Okay, we should be multiplying because we know 20, or 2 times 10 is 20, and 2 times 10 is 20. So we need 20 times 20. Here we need 2 times 2 times 10 times 10. Here we need 4 times 100, and that would give me 400. And let's see if that's right. 2 times 2 is 4. Drop the 2 zeros down, 400. Okay, so